In forensic investigations, blood spatter patterns often hold critical clues to reconstructing the events surrounding a death. In Kurt Cobain's case, a significant detail has drawn attention: the lack of blood spatter or backspatter on his hands and arms. When we examine this absence of evidence alongside his reported body positioning, we uncover a story that aligns with forensic principles and raises further questions about his final moments. Typically, a contact shotgun wound to the head would produce substantial backspatter, blood and tissue propelled backward from the force of the blast. This spatter often lands on the shooter's hands, arms, and clothing. However, in Kurt Cobain's case, no such spatter was found. Instead, the only blood noted was pooled around his head. Why is this absence of spatter significant? When examining a case like this, one explanation for the lack of spatter is low blood pressure at the time of the shot. If Kurt had injected a lethal dose of heroin shortly before, his cardiovascular system would have been severely compromised, leading to dramatically reduced blood pressure. This means that when the shotgun discharged, there was likely little to no arterial pressure to push blood forcefully out of the wound. A closer look at the pooling of blood beneath Kurt's head provides further insight. This type of pooling suggests blood seeped out of the wound due to gravity, rather than being forcefully expelled by the energy of the shotgun blast. This aligns with what we'd expect if he were already experiencing low blood pressure, or if his heart had stopped pumping immediately upon the injury.
It occurs when an object impacts a source of blood. The spatter projected outward and away from the source, such as an exit wound, is called forward spatter. Back spatter, sometimes called blowback spatter, consists of the blood projected backward from the source, such as an entrance wound, potentially being deposited on the object or person creating the impact. Impact spatter patterns consist of many drops radiating in direct lines from the origin of blood to the target.
Positioning is another crucial factor. If Kurt Cobain had been sitting upright when the shotgun discharged, we would expect to see blood spatter propelled outward and downward due to gravity, likely landing on his arms, hands, and surrounding surfaces. However, the absence of spatter supports the position of Kurt lying flat on his back when the gun discharged. Taken together, these factors, the absence of backspatter, the pooling of blood, and the likely low blood pressure, paint a consistent picture. They suggest that Kurt was lying on his back when the shotgun discharged, and his cardiovascular system was already compromised, likely due to the high levels of heroin in his system. Forensic evidence doesn't just tell us how someone died, it invites us to understand the circumstances surrounding their death. In this case, the lack of blood spatter and its connection to Kurt Cobain's positioning and physiological state remains a critical part of the story. It's the small details that paint the big picture. It's the small details that paint the big picture. It's the small details that paint the big picture.